Just a little quick intro before you get things started. This is going to be as quick as possible, so let's just get it over with. First off, I want to thank you all for 300 subscribers. We're currently at 315, and I really appreciate the fact that I have a lot of you guys who are willing to deal with my edgy ass and my content. I love you all very much, especially my friends who subscribe to my channel. Along with that, this counts as both a 300 sub special and a birthday special because my birthday is coming up, and I'm currently recording this technically the day before my birthday, so a thumbs up for that. It's currently the 26th, by the way, and my birthday is on the 27th. Along with that, let's get into the actual intro. Disclaimer real quick, please do not harass anyone I mention in this video. I really wish I did not have to bring that up, but there's a lot of idiots on the internet who like to harass others just because, you know, someone covered them. I will say, do not harass anyone, not even on my behalf. Do not do anything of that sort, because it doesn't help the situation and it just makes it even worse. Along with that, this video will contain mentions of some triggering topics. You can probably guess what they are based on the content that I post. This will contain mentions of things such as sexual assault and all that. So if you are triggered by any of that, please skip this video and or at least proceed with caution. With that out of the way, I will say that if you for some reason hear fans during the recording or any like creaking or room sounds, that's because A, I'm currently in my chair, which likes to creak a fair bit, or if you hear the fan noises, it's coming from my PS4. I'm currently playing Black Ops 4. Just took a quick break to record this, so with that out of the way, this long ass intro is finally done. Let's get into the actual video. I think one thing we can all agree on is that Eden is one of the worst people on the internet by far. If anything, he's as bad as Beth, but not as bad as someone like Alpha Liar or Ajax, but even then, that doesn't count for much. Those who have been following this channel since I started doing commentary, or at the very least have been following me for at least a couple of months, will know that I have some history with Eden. I was friends for him for about, I want to say maybe like a week or so, until he found out that I was 14 and proceeded to block me before putting me on blast on Twitter. Keep in mind that he wasn't grooming me or anything, but he did at one point use me to go after people like Spoken in a video defending him. Also, Sarah, if you're watching this, I'm still really sorry about the whole situation. Please forgive me. Anywho, after he was shunned out of the Hazbin Hotel community, he went straight to the Perfect Apocalypse fandom and stayed put until about a couple of weeks ago when he came back under a few new accounts. I will put those accounts up on screen later, but I think the more important one that caught my attention was an account that was a Fizz account, specifically an account known as Candy Court Jester. How do I know this one is Eden? Well, first off, Eden's about 23, and the account's Mun, or the account's owner, is about 23. So, pretty easy to put two and two together. Along with that, when I found out about this account, which was about a few weeks ago, maybe around earlier this month to maybe late October, it was only a few weeks old, and this fuckboy already had me blocked. This is something that Eden does on all of his accounts, as he knows that A, I am one of his detractors, and B, he knows that I can easily find ammo on him as long as I'm unblocked. So he blocks me instantly. At least that's my speculation anyways. Intro aside, I was scrolling through my timeline during study hall, or at least I was, at the time that I was writing the script, when I found a tweet by Spoken. You know, of course I'm going to be bringing Spoken up because she's a reputable source. And she was talking about a Google Doc that Eden had made about his comeback to the platform, and I skimmed through it, and yikes! Talk about pathetic. Hello everyone, my name is Chris, aka Neuroski Quartz, so you already know what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be dissecting Eden's Google Doc. Let's begin. Also, let me give a second disclaimer in case you didn't hear the first one. This is going to be containing mentions of sexual assault and pedophilia and the like. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, I will be using evidence from things such as Spoken's tweets, her thread on Eden, along with a few other things I found here and there while scrounging around. I'm sorry, she does a better job at compiling shit than I do, and because her thread actually has evidence. Okay, let's get into it. She didn't have to cut me off. So first, you might see different ats here for these accounts, so I will put up a list on screen just so you know how to differentiate between these. By the way, a majority of these accounts are either inactive or deleted. This means that they were either taken down by Twitter, Eden deleted them, or they have since become inactive, but they're still up. The new ones are the ones that currently exist and are more recent. For example, the Jester account, aka the Fizz account. And along with that, there's Dollar Poof Pool, and Pastel Passions, and Servantspian. Just so you know, all these things, just for differentiating. Okay, now we can begin. Quote, "Hello, this is a very long thing I will be discussing and pinning with my commission sheet. I've left the community for a very long time, has been, you will know who I am, and I'm here to own up to some things and make a fresh start." Not even a paragraph in, and you're already setting off a lot of red flags, Eden. He's pinning this doc to his commission sheet, meaning he's not going to be, he's not only going to be dropping a bombshell on the people who don't know about him, which is basically shooting himself in the foot, but those who will automatically forgive him for what he's done are automatically going to be giving him money. Anyways, let's continue. In this Google Doc, Eden is quote-unquote disproving claims made about him, which can automatically be backed up by evidence people have collected. Let's get into this. Quote, 1. Victim blaming. I had gone after individuals who had used to cope. No, not like that. They would write fanfiction about it, and I snapped. I'm a victim myself, and I thought you'd be adverse to it if you were. But in my very, 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 very long absence, I have met people who, for obvious reasons, are to remain anonymous, who have taught me that isn't the case with every person. It's a suggested coping mechanism by therapists, even. Okay, I'm just gonna be impartial here. Both you and the people you went after are at fault here, but let's start with you, Eden. It was f***ed up for you to go after victims while using your own supposed trauma to defend your behavior. And now onto the victims. I'm not going to be shaming you for your own hardships, or for using your own hardships to write fanfics. I mean, my second fanfic is basically based off the time that I lied about my age on Twitter. However, by publicizing that work, which was meant to help you cope, you're potentially triggering other victims and potentially opening up yourself to more danger. I'm not victim blaming you, because that's what Eden would do. I'm just providing some very minor criticism about how you went about the situation, and that is all. I don't mean any ill will. I'm sorry that you had to go through those things, and my heart goes out to you, my condolences and all that. Putting that aside, let's get into the next bit. Quote, harassment for changing a sexuality in a character. I was insecure in my own sexuality as an asexual man and snapped at someone who would make Alistair bisexual for their comfort. I snapped and allowed my emotion to cloud my logical reasoning with my reactionary state. I have, of course, long ago apologized to this individual. For those who are confused, I am very confused as well, but what I can assume is that he's referring to roleplayers who change Alistair's sexuality for their own independent portrayal. I covered this more in length on my video, Dear Eden, Erasing Sexuality Isn't a Thing. If you want to take into account that he uses his insecurity as a defense, his argument completely falls flat. If you're going after someone, you better have a very valid reason to do so, because if you don't, you're basically being a dick. It's kind of how I am. I have a very valid reason to go after the people that I talk about. For example, the Via account that I talked about, they were being toxic. Eden, he's being toxic. Beth, she's a whole other breed, but, we'll mention her later. So yeah, I have a reason for talking about the things that I do. You don't have a reason, and instead your quote-unquote reasons are basically your own problems, which you're projecting onto other people as an excuse. Quote, harassment over a ship. I felt self-righteous and went after someone innocent, not Spud, who wanted to do a harmless fun with Ship Week. I have a personal traumatic response to the ship, and in doing so I created a hostile and uncomfortable environment to this individual. I will hold scrutiny over Spud, Adjects, and those who harassed Pasto, of course, if you know that situation, for sexualizing/sexually harassing a minor at the time with the knowledge that she was one, and Spud for currently shipping pedophilia, being Rachel and Zach from Angels of Death. Rachel is 13 and Zach is 20. Okay, I can commend you for being against the pedophilic ship, but good job using Pastel's ongoing situation as a shield, you stupid cunt. Because it doesn't matter how quote-unquote traumatized you were with the ship, you had no reason to go after an innocent person like that. You can rightfully hold scrutiny against people like Adjix and Spud, and also Alpha Wire and that salty Bobcat, but do not be harassing those who wanted to have a ship week. We as Shaggy shippers have our own ship week, and last I checked, you supported Shaggy. So if you can handle your fan base having your own week, and last I checked, Radio Husk and Radio Dust, or whatever ship you support, also have their own week. If you can support those, you can handle another fan base having their own week. You don't need to be bringing your traumas into this and using that as a shield for your obvious harassment. Quote, 4. I was a very generally unkind and unwelcoming individual. I created hostility and discomfort for many individuals. That's a bit of an understatement, but okay. You know, look everyone, he's figured it out. I guess we should forgive him. You are more than unkind and unwelcoming. You are hypocritical, manipulative, and entitled. Sounds like a lot of other people that I know. And let's get into more quote-unquote disproving arguments. And this is where they truly get into the arguments that people are going to come back with him against, which I will automatically disprove these deflections with evidence, as you will see. Quote, 1. You used the N-word and said some horribly racist shit. Yes, I did. I was in an abusive and highly toxic relationship, and if you do your studies, victims mirror their abuser. It does not excuse or make what I did okay, but that is what happened and why. I will never do that again. I feel disgusted with myself daily for it. I feel literally sick to my stomach every time I think about it. I have no excuse. I have my reasoning in the moment, but no excuse can be given for that. He says that last part, while also pretending that a lot of shit also didn't happen in this Google Doc. Also, don't be giving me that bullshit of minors, or not minors, but victims don't mirror their abuser or whatever. I know that I can't speak for everyone, maybe it might be true, I'm not a damn doctor, but here's the thing. I was groomed by one of the douchebags that my friend is still dating, and my dad's a piece of shit, and my aunt's boyfriend physically assaulted me a couple of months ago. But do you see me doing the same behavior that they did? Do you see me gaslighting other 14-year-olds and having them gather porn? Do you see me beating up teenagers? Do you see me neglecting my significant other and neglecting my kid who looks up to me? No, I don't do that, because victims do not mirror their abuser as far as I can tell. If they do, please correct me. I'm willing to be corrected on that point, because again, I'm not a friggin' doctor. I'm just going off what I know. I'm going off personal experience. I'm not pretending to know everything. Please correct me. But still. And along with that, if you really think about it, he's currently using his own trauma to deflect. And he's using it as an excuse despite saying, oh yeah, it does not make what I did okay, it's not an excuse. Here's the thing. There's the difference between being regretful and there's this, okay? Being regretful means that you never emulate that same kind of behavior ever again. Ever again. Like, it doesn't even have to be racism, it just has to be toxic behavior in general. Racism falls under toxic behavior, alright? There's a difference between being regretful and what this is. You never ever do it again if you're regretful and you work to improve. Eden has never improved at all. He's still been going at it and he's still been crying wolf. I mean, goddamn. Take a chill pill, Eden. So, yeah, let's just continue on to this. Quote, 2. You wrote a very disgusting fanfic. The fanfic was a representation of my sexual trauma I endured during a dark period of my life I've discovered as of recent. I did not know what the fanfic truly meant until speaking to professionals. I had uncovered a lot of my repressed trauma recently tied with the events of that fic. I removed it off the site, not to hide what I've done, but so no one can ever be exposed to it ever again. No one deserves to see such vile filth. I'm sorry I wrote it. I was processing trauma and did it in the wrong way. The fetish itself is from trauma, and I'm working on how to possibly work on or cure it. Like I said before, you can write works or draw art to cope with your trauma, I guess, but that's for private sake. That's for you and your therapist to see only, because that shows progress, I guess. But when you publicize that for the world to see, you're dealing damage to other people in ways you never think about. But you know what, I can give you some credit for taking it down, even if his intentions were to get rid of evidence. Also, nice job, by the way, bringing this up when you were bringing up, not even a couple of minutes ago, about how, yeah, I was harassing someone over a friggin' fanfic which contained some triggering things. You had no right to go after those people, especially when you just proved that you did that exact same behavior. Quote, 3. You stole character designs and made a Nazi OC. No, I did not steal character designs. I did take a color palette of an OC one time out of spite when accused of stealing when the OCs were nothing alike at first, retracting the action, of course. Other than that, no, I simply became inspired by the things within the world around me. Colors, elements, simple subjects. 2. Yes, I did. I didn't realize in the moment why I was wrong. I wanted historic accuracy and got carried away, but I do now, and I've since disavowed the concept of the character as a Nazi doctor. He's just a very fucked up doctor who tortured patients, has been hotel, so yeah, he's fucked up. Okay, so this is kind of new. First off, not the OC bit, but the character design's bit. Now, I can't find anything to back up that claim, but it does seem believable. But here's the thing. You had no reason to bring this up. By bringing this up, you just gave the people critiquing you more evidence against you. You can't exactly use that as a defense against criticism when no one knew and no one cared. Along with that, it wasn't just, historic accuracy and all that for the Nazi OC, but the thing is, you are the one who intentionally made that OC, fully realizing it, and then went on to defend it, and not only that, that same OC, when you got called out for it, ended up getting you banned from several servers. But still, I will give you the benefit of the doubt for that first thing. Colors are not things you own. Looking at you, Bethany. Anyways, next, quote, 4. You stole money from an abuse victim / withheld money from an abused minor. I had no access to the GoFundMe owned by the minor, therefore I could not hold money from them. I asked for a refund in a moment of anger and suggested holding money back as I was very, very, very nervous. There was no plan yet and wanted to make sure they wouldn't get hurt, being influenced by a crowd of people, one of which was their predator for years, who would convince them to take risky and dangerous actions. Was this okay with me? No. I was anxious, that was the gist. Like a lot of times I let my anxiety get the best of me. No, I did not steal money from that other person. I had, as stated before, realized he was no longer in the home the money was raided for, and thus decided to refund the site. However, I still realized this was not okay, so when I was financially stable, I gave their person their money back. Miles, for you to say someone forced me to give that money back to you is wrong and hurtful. I came to terms within myself to get you your money. I was not forced or pressured, and you going out of your way to say things is horrible. Okay, let's go on to that first thing, right? I'm pretty sure within an instant, Mintart can instantly discredit you on that whole thing. Alright, so if you don't know who Mintart is, they're the minor that Miss Anthropony defended. So, yeah, this always keeps coming back to her for some reason. I don't know why. I'm really sorry, Mint, if you're watching this, but yeah. And not only that, here's the thing. If you claim to have no access to the GoFundMe, then okay. Whatever, you want to show proof that you didn't have access to it? Because there's a lot of proof showing that you did have access to it, or at the very least from what I can tell, there is some proof. I don't know. I think I know this shit. But still, when it comes to that first thing, you did withhold money. Maybe not a large sum, but you did withhold some money that was meant to go to them. Alright? And you cannot blame it on anxiety, and even then, when you're using anxiety as a reasoning, you're not supposed to frame it as like an excuse. You're not supposed to frame it as a reasoning. You're supposed to say like, yeah, I got anxious. I know that it wasn't right, but that's really what happened. And to that, I am sorry and all that. And you could have issued an apology to Mintart, but we'll get onto that later. Onto the second thing. I seriously doubt that you had a change of heart when it came to refunding the money. All right. I have a Google Doc of evidence that says otherwise. You made a GoFundMe for Miles, and according to him, he didn't get the money from you. It's more likely that you couldn't take the heat and then suddenly give the money to him. As for the minor, aka Mint, yeah, no. I don't have shit, but someone else is gonna have to do that for me. Oh wait, somebody has. I think anyways. Quote, 5. You're a danger to minors. Why? Because I made sure a minor being harassed was okay by occasionally checking in, because a minor decided to ask an adult not to detonate me because they were trans and understood how it felt. I assume you're talking about Jester, which, okay, great job for throwing him under the bus, you asshole. Let's go back to this. Quote, because I supported a minor who was preyed upon by an adult and would casually check in on them. In comparison to adults who show minors NSFW all art, ask them to draw NSFW, RP NSFW, discuss NSFW topics / trauma dump, encourage minors underage drink, and continuously keep minors in contact after being told not to. Yes, I am speaking of someone specific, cough cough Bethany, then no, I'm not a danger to minors. I do not allow minors in my friends list. I do not allow them in my server. I do not talk to them. If I speak to a minor, okay, I speak to a minor. Plenty of you know someone who is a legitimate danger to him. I'm not one of them, and I have a number of people who can vouch this fact. You want to give evidence for that? Quote, no, I will not keep minors close, but you all really have to stop tossing these accusations of being a danger to minors and such around and save people who actually are. That's what they're doing. They are using those accusations for people who are actually a danger, like you. They don't go throwing that shit around willy-nilly. These people are people who don't do that. They save those arguments for people who actually are a danger. Alright, they're not going around spreading slander. And I know firsthand, I know a few of them who are critiquing you. Let's go back to this. Quote, otherwise you're minimizing the actual people who are actual threats such as Ajax, Bethany, Spud, and such forth. People who have actually sexually harassed or exposed minors to inappropriate content. Okay. Don't pretend like you're any fucking better than Bethany, you inbred weasel. You both lie and use other people to go after people you don't like, myself included. I guess the only thing Beth has over you is not dating a known orbiter, but even then doesn't count for much. You both act the same. Do not try and act all high and mighty just because it's convenient for you. Not only that, I have a fucking screenshot of you talking to Jester, who at the time was 15. You want to try that again when it comes to not speaking to minors or keeping them in your friends list? And last I checked, according to a source that I had back then, you had several minors friended, and then you proceeded to block them the second you found out I was 14, okay? So do not try and argue that, you don't talk to these people, alright? Quote, 6. You claim to be Chinese, such this, such that, and you're not. I have seen the claim that I claim to be nationalities that I am not, and I am okay. I never said that I am Chinese. I just remarked how I have thin eyes, and growing up, children thought I was Asian and made very racist jokes to me, even when I say I would not. Okay, you don't get to make that kind of remark, okay? Like, if you're just telling a funny story, okay, whatever, but if you're using it to, self-deprecate, then don't put that on the internet, because if you do that, people are going to accuse you of being a racist. Quote, I am, however, Polish/Italian/Irish/Hungarian, in part indigenous, word I'm not going to pronounce, from my great-grandfather and aunt. I have person of color family from my cousins and uncles, 2 different parts of the family through marriage. Okay, this next part, I don't care about, and that's why I'm not going to read about it, by the way. But here's the thing. They're throwing their entire family under the bus just as an excuse, which, okay, great job. If you're just like Bethany, throwing your own family under the bus to excuse your own bullshit. But let's get to the ending part. Quote, I ask you not to make claims I would for some godforsaken reason lie about my ethnicity. I have no reason to. What could one gain from that? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Well, you could gain attention, by claiming to be another ethnicity. You could claim to be another ethnicity and then pretend to be an advocate, and then bam, you instantly get brownie points from the SJWs who care about race. Quote, those are what my confirmed bloodline is. Please stop spreading lies and misinformation over my literal ethnic bloodline. Alright, last I checked, no one was spreading misinformation about your race, and I don't think anyone giving a flying fuck about what your race was, nor did they care about your family details. Quote, 7. You lied about being abused. Turn yourself in. No, I did not. I have stated thousands upon thousands of times I was abused sexually and emotionally for 3 years. 3 painful, horrible years. I was literally molested offline by someone, and when I told him, his response was, I don't think you should have told me that I'm not a professional. It's not what a loving boyfriend says. I've explained in vivid details for 3 years to my therapist what the relationship was like daily for me. She even came to the conclusion that by technicality, he was my pimp. He would have people sexually harass me, and would mention people dating me and such, and also literally grooming me into being the second person in a relationship using me fetish, which he knew I had trauma to, thus the first breakup. Gee, I wonder what this sex was. Was it the first one, the third one, or the 16th one? I always find it hard to keep track. Now, Eden does show screenshots, which I end up taking a majority of the Google Drive, so I'm not going to say that Eden is lying. In fact, I think for once he actually might be telling the truth. I won't show off any of the screenshots here for several reasons, such as triggering any of my viewers or potentially getting the shit taken down, but they are available on Eden's Google Doc. You can pause the video and go look at that doc for yourself. In between these screenshots, however, you can see several parts where Buttons, aka Eden, has several mental breakdowns on this Google Doc. Now, I have a few theories as to why this is, and keep in mind that these are just theories. I'm not saying this is objective fact, so take these with a grain of salt. A, he's trying to guilt trip the reader. B, he is legit having a mental breakdown. Or C, Buttons was on some PMS type shit when he was typing this Google Doc up. I'm gonna go with B, because not even I am that much of a dick. I have self-harmed on several occasions, as Buttons is mentioned in this thread. He's self-harmed, I guess. I've done the exact same at times, right? But I'm not going to be judging him for that, but still, Eden, that kind of breakdown is for someone like your therapist, not a Google Doc meant for apologizing for past actions. Quote, use a trigger word despite someone asking you not to. Normally I'm regretful of this, but someone falsely accused me of being a pedophile, I'm assuming you mean Beth. After being told she was wrong and knew it, she continued. So no, I do not take that back. Until the claim I groom children is revoked, I would never go after a child sexually due to my personal trauma with the subject. Once the remark I go after children is revoked and I get an apology, I will in turn apologize. Until then, I will not. If she was triggered by the word, she should have heeded that I am triggered of being accused by the very thing that ruined my innocence. Your trigger reminds you of your rape. Calling me a pedophile does the same damn thing. Many can attest by my side that I do not go after children. You wanna give proof of that list, Buttons? Quote, the claim was raised because someone knowingly lied to me about their age, and when they roleplay with me while their profile said minors do not interact, giving the impression that they were an adult, they claimed that I pressured them into ERP, saying I knew they were 17, it's okay, they're close enough, the link below will in fact show otherwise. By the time any ERP occurred, they were already 18 and reached out for me for ERP as the video shows. This person has also gone to my Facebook to try and convince people I go after children, after also saying that I never did anything disingenuous at its finest. Let the reality of the situation is someone who was petty and wanted to use this person as a pedo card, full well twisting facts. While she had a tendency to spread misinformation about you several times, you still shouldn't have used her trigger word. And don't try and pull that fucking petty shit like, oh yeah, I'm not going to apologize for this until I get an apology. Okay. The thing is, both of you were in the wrong, but still, don't go to that level. Don't sink to Beth's level like a dumbass, because if anything, you're giving people more ammo. And yeah, I get it. Beth falsely accused you of being a pedophile by ERPing with somebody. I get it. But here's the full reality of the situation. Even if we take that whole thing out of the equation, you still ERP'd with somebody before knowing their full age. You were lucky that they were 18, otherwise your ass would have gone to jail. And here's some screenshots of, Buttons using Beth's trigger word. Anyways, yeah, I did use the word in my video about Beth, but here's the thing, you used it out of spite. I said the word cunt because I really don't give a fuck. 9. You knowingly dating a person who groomed. No, I did not. I did not know what he did. The minute I found out, I cut him off. That's lying. Quote, he had convinced me for so long that he was a nice man until I was shown his lies. He fed me were just that, lies. I'm leaving that here. I don't need to justify this further. If you think I would willingly date a pedophile, you do not know me at all. Okay, this is the big one. You did knowingly date a known orbiter. You have admitted it yourself, and I have proof, by the way. Some of it was posted by you, but we'll get into that in a bit. Here's the statement that Eden made about Ichabod, aka the Orbiter. Quote, if you take issue with the fact that my boyfriend is Ichabod, then fuck off. He's the best man I've ever dated who treats me like royalty. Oh, I'm sure he does, Eden. Good for you. Quote, he's not an Orbiter. I've read the chat logs entire. There's your smoking gun. There's your smoking gun. Okay? That's it. That's all. Here's the thing. He literally just admits, yeah, I read through it all, and automatically trying to get this bullshit up. Oh, but there was nothing in there. I read through the whole thing entirely. Oh my god. You proceeded to shame those who called your ass out, goddamn. Not only that, you literally admitted on a call with Lyle Convoy that you knew about this. I will play some of the clips here, but I will leave the full video in the description.
This was before you dropped him, but you had admitted that you had seen the logs, that you read through them. He put out a video about them.
All I knew is what I was told, and what I was told about what he did and what I knew, because I didn't watch the video with Vita, because frankly I didn't want to, deal with Beryl, first off, and second off, I trusted.
Wasn't just that. It's also in my video. You said you watched it.
I skimmed it. Because at the time I was dating Ichabod.
I've read the chat logs entirely. He made a video scrolling entire chat logs with him, and I did not see any instance of him initiating anything sexual. In fact, most of the chat say how she's in love with Vita and how he emotionally abuses her.
In his private chat logs on Discord, but I saw the ones he told her on Twitter.
And if you want to listen to the entire call for even more of a window into Eden's life, then go right the hell ahead. So yeah, the rest of the Google Doc consists of Eden talking about a parody account impersonating him and their history with family problems and whatnot. And like I said before, a majority of the Google Doc was taken up by screenshots, which I can commend him for, kinda, because he did kinda clear his name in terms of him being, manipulated and all that, but still, that doesn't count for anything. This is a very poor attempt at an apology. Hell, it wasn't even an apology, it was a 66-page call-out thread masked as an apology, with at least 75% of it being taken up by screenshots. If you want to really apologize, don't make a fucking Google Doc and put it on Twitter, or pin it to your goddamn commission sheet to make money off it. Go to everyone you've affected and apologized. Apologize to Mint for how you treated her. Apologize to Convoy and his friends for the bullshit you put them through. Apologize to me for having me go after innocent people on your behalf. Apologize to all the other minors that you've used or potentially used for having them go on this whole fucking crusade on your behalf. Prove to everyone that you can actually change and show some improvement instead of putting up this fucking sob story and expecting things to suddenly be better. Because this is a damn shame, Eden. It's really a shame. But anyways, that's all I really have to say for today's video. If you for some reason like this, go ahead and leave a like, whatever. Subscribe. I'm gonna go back to playing video games now. This has been Rescue Quartza, signing out. Have a good one, lads, and wish me a happy birthday in the comments. See you later.